Hello again, and welcome to Soul in My Soul. Soul in My Soul is my weekly podcast where I talk about things involving Korean and Korean American culture, all from my unique point of view as a non-Korean who has been involved in the culture for over 15 years. You can read my writings on my website, WaygookinWay.com. That is WaygookinWay.com. I'm doing a review of the most viewed posts that I've done over the past year. And so the last episode dealt with the topic of are Korean women materialistic and going into reasons why some people feel that way. Today we're going to go over another article that has more views than the previous one. This particular article is definitely one that I didn't expect to be in the top 5, but it did make it, and it's an interesting topic as to why do Korean people live longer. The statistics that I got for this article was doing a Google search about life expectancy, and it took me back to some statistics in 2012. So in 2012, it was said that the average North Korean lived to be 69 and a half years old, whereas the average South Korean lived to be 81.37 years old. So more than a decade longer life expectancy in South Korea than in North Korea. If you're wondering about a country like the United States, it was 78.74 years. So you're looking years longer than the average American as well. Which may shock some people because people hear about America being the richest country in the world. You always hear about people wanting to do exercising, gyms. You have the diet crazes that go on here in the United States. So to hear that you're looking at several years more life expectancy in South Korea, which is technically in a war zone, than in the United States, does shock some people. But just briefly, what are the reasons why? There's several variables, so you can never know exactly why it is. And so we don't break down all the potential reasons, but two of the reasons I mentioned in this article do go hand in hand, and that is exercise and means of transportation. So that might not seem like it goes hand in hand, but in a way they do. And this is the reason why. In Seoul, if you're in a city, then whether it's Seoul, Busan, Suwon, do have great public transportation, and there are trains that'll take you all over Korea. There are buses that'll take you all over Korea. But for a lot of people, they walk wherever they go. So obviously, if you live in a place like Dolbang-gu, which is way north of Seoul, but you work in Gangnam, which is on the other side of the Han River, you're not going to walk that distance. But if stuff is close in your neighborhood, then a lot of people do walk to a corner market. They do walk to a restaurant to go out to eat. If they're taking a bus, then they're walking to the bus stop. If they're taking the subway, they're walking to the subway. And when you're in the subway station, there's typically a lot of steps, so you actually do get a lot of exercise walking around, even when you're walking to take public transportation somewhere. So that's something that we don't particularly see a ton of in certain areas in the United States. Even in larger cities, there's a lot of people who they have to have a car in order to get around. But for a number of people in Korea, if they're in a major city, they can get around just fine without ever owning a car, simply by walking wherever they're going or walking to public transportation. As far as exercise goes, there are serious exercise regimes in Korea. If you ever traveled along the Han River, there are places along the Han River where there are public workout equipment. So you actually can work out outside along the river getting a cool breeze. So that's something in the United States you don't see a ton of. In major cities, you might see a park that has a basketball court or might have some type of field for soccer or baseball. But to see actual exercise equipment is something that, at least for me, was shocking. But it was definitely a nice surprise. So between that, you do have people who like to work out, who have personal trainers. I did actually meet a personal trainer while I was in Korea and got to talk to him for a little bit over an hour. So it's definitely a place where people take exercise and health very seriously. Perhaps the biggest difference between the United States and in South Korea is going to be the diet. When you look at the traditional Korean diet, there are a lot of vegetables that are involved. Your banchan, your side dishes, are mainly going to be vegetables. So it's not something like an American diet where you have meat and you have potatoes. You have, in Korean culture, you might have steak meat or chicken meat, but then you have kimchi, fermented pickled cabbage that has vegetable paste on it. You will have bean sprouts. You will have maybe some type of other salad. You will have different beans, some nuts. You'll have all these different varieties of side dishes that can get you full, but they're mainly vegetable based. Lotus root. So all these things add up to equal a much healthier diet that is less dependent on meat. Also, Korea tends to be careful about the meat that it allows into the country. And that's one of the reasons why, if you talk to Korean people that have been to Korea recently, then you know that a lot of times they'll tell you that fried chicken tastes better in Korea than in the United States. I, having had both fried chicken in Korea and in the United States, agree with that. And it's not necessarily the grease or anything like that, but one of the things you do notice, the chicken sizes are smaller in Korea and more natural because they're not pumped with as many hormones as you see in the United States. So it does give it a different taste, but it's more natural how chicken is supposed to taste. Beef is the same way. They don't import beef from certain from certain countries because they don't want to have contaminated meat and different problems because of contaminated meat within the country. Is the diet changing in Korea? Most definitely. You're seeing more and more American chains come in, so you're seeing more and more foreign food that are not typical of the Korean diet. But for the most part, most people do eat a more traditional diet that has a lot of vegetables. You can go to a grocery store and get chips, of course, or you can get gimbap, which is seaweed wrapped rice that has some vegetables in it. Might have some meat, like some tuna fish, some bulgogi, that's steak meat, or something like that. But rice and seaweed is the main ingredient. So you have healthier food, healthier options. And also then for dessert, while a lot of people tell you about Paris baguette and chains like that, there are a lot of people for dessert that eat fruit. So it's not uncommon that you have a dinner, afterwards you have some coffee, some tea, and then you have some fruit to go along with it. And of course, coffee, if you drink it in moderation, can help prevent certain cancers. Tea, if you drink it every day, can help prevent heart attacks. So there's a lot of healthy choices in Korea that people get that you don't necessarily get here. That's why sometimes you'll meet Korean people that maybe they drink a lot of alcohol, but they don't drink a lot of soda. They'll drink more juice, tea, coffee, water, things that are more natural than drinking soda or drinking Kool-Aid. So reasons like that tend to add up and help Korean people to live longer. And it's stuff like this that other countries and other people are trying to incorporate into their diet and health regime that hopefully will make a difference as well. If you check out the link, the description box, I will put the link to the original article So you can go and read it if you want to. And you can check out my other writings at WaygookinWay.com. Please be sure to like this video, share it with other people, and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you click the notification icon so when new episodes of Soul of My Soul come up, you will be notified right away. Thank you for listening, and as always, remember, the best way to get rid of your nightmares is to live out your dreams. Talk to you next time. Goodbye.